Hello everyone, it's Cassie. Welcome back for another Trinity Stamps video. Today we are going to be doing, just as the title said, 2 cards with 1 stenciled background. This is what we're going to be using. This is the Simply Sentimental Holidays. We've got the stamps and the dies. You know I love the Simply Sentimental line. And then we have this Foliage Flare Stencil. And I think it's great for any season. And I think depending on what colors you use, you can really go to town with this. So I'm going to take a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock and make 2 bases. And those are both 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And then I have one piece that is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And we're going to stencil this with our Foliage Flare stencil. I'm going to bring in my tonic platform and then just kind of line this up, center that up on there a little bit. I'm using the grid on the background to kind of make sure that everything is nice and centered on there. Because like I said, I want to make 2 backgrounds out of this. Now I'm going to tack that stencil down with some magnets, and we're going to bring in a dark red color along with our blending buddy, and that dark red color is some Game Over. I'm just going to blend that all over that first stencil. Like I said before, the fall foliage stencil has 2 stencils to it, and I have used this several times before. I love this stencil so much. I just think it's so pretty, and I love that it is bigger than my 5.5 by 8.5 inch piece of cardstock, because this will make making multiples very simple. Okay, and it's also what I like to call a continuous stencil. So now I'm just lining up the next one, and all you have to do to line that up is use those score lines that are on there, emboss lines, to match up with what you just stenciled. And I'm going to bring in a dark green. That dark green is called Fake Plant, and again with a blending buddy. And now I have a blending buddy for each of my color families. You wouldn't have to do this. You could clean out your blending buddy, but I really do like not having to do that. So I do have one for everyone. And like I said, this is a continuous stencil. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to shift this stencil down just a little bit to cover that bottom portion that doesn't have the stenciling. So you can see there. And I'm going to have to bring back in the red one and do that as well. I wasn't completely thinking at the time. So I'm just going to blend that green across the bottom. I love these continuous stencils. Like I said, it just makes it so easy to create multiples. And at Christmas time, oftentimes we need to have multiples. So once again, move our magnets, bring in the other stencil, because you can see at the top we need that. And then I'll just line that up like I did with the green one. Obviously not doing a very good job there. Once I get that on there, fairly happy with that. Doesn't have to be completely perfect, but I do want it to all line up. I'll bring back in our red and blend that across the top. And I love this. It's on a white piece of cardstock, and I think that's really pretty, but I do want to kind of age it a little bit. But before I do that, I'm going to clean up my mess, get all that green and red off of there, clean off my stencils, put those away. And then I'm going to bring in some cookie dough. It's like a light brown, and I'm just going to add that to the edges. It'll frame up my piece, and I like the weathering it kind of gives our stencil. But I do need to, cut my panel in half. So we're going to cut that at 4 1/4. So now each piece will be 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And then I will just blend on that one edge that didn't have it. So now we have our 2 pieces all ready for the rest of what we're going to be doing. Next, I'm going to bring in my Trinity Gold palette. And this one looks a little different than the one that is in the store. The one that is in the store is a little cheaper than this one was. And you get all the same colors, just a little bit less. Honestly, if all you use it for is splatter like me, you're going to have these paints for forever. So I will never run out of this tin, I'm sure. And I like to splatter everything. I think splatter just makes things better. So I'm splattering that gold all over both of those backgrounds. Loving how this is turning out. And then we are going to set those off to the side to dry. After I try to show you. Sorry about the glare. It's the time of day that I am filming, but we'll set those off to the side to dry. Next up would be our sentiments. And again, that comes from our Simply Sentimental Holidays. I have to do 2 of these, remember. I've pulled out a couple of different sentiments to go with it. We've got our one big holidays, and I'm doing this on some black sentiment stock. This stuff is so smooth and perfect for embossing, whatever color you're going to emboss. But I decided to emboss with some gold. You see I have a coffee filter up there. I also have I'm using my Mini Misty, especially since I need to stamp these out twice. And I have my gold embossing powder up there. Close the door of the Misty and bring out our Juicy Embossing ink to ink up our words. That is just a clear sticky ink, which is what you need, like a pigment ink, what you need for embossing. So I'll cover that with that gold embossing powder, tap away the excess, and then I'll heat set that till that is smooth and melted, and you can watch the embossing magic. I love embossing. That never gets old. As many of you know, that's basically how I got started with stamping. It all started with some embossing. Many, many years ago. So now I'll bring in the matching die. I'm going to tack that down with a little bit of mint tape. I do love that we have matching dies. It's easy to line them up, and then we'll run that through our die cutting machine. And there you have it. That looks super good. So I'll put those away. And now that I've stamped them out twice, die cut twice, now I've got the rest of my sentiment to trim out. So I'm just going to use my guillotine trimmer to trim those down. And to me, it's always interesting how when you're trying to do gold embossing on black, putting the powder on there, it looks like it's going to be so dull until you heat emboss it. That makes all the difference. So, and I like how those turned out so much. So what I am going to do is add some foam squares to the back of the big words, the big holidays. I'm just going to line that up on the back of those. I will do it for both of them. I'm not going to do it for the other sentiments. I just wanted this one to be to stand out. So I'll do that on all of them. We'll pull off that release paper. And then I'm going to use a T-ruler so I can get this fairly straight on there. Just this one. And the other one, obviously. But the other sentiments, I'm going to eyeball those. Because, yeah, I'm going to do it. You could, you could bring in your T-ruler again if you wanted. And I'm going to tack that down with our Crafty Gluefriend from Trinity Stamps. Love this stuff. It doesn't cause my paper to buckle, and everything stays where it's supposed to. And I like that little bottle. It's perfect for travel as well. So we'll do that for both of them, and then we're going to get our bases ready. Our bases are 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So like I said, that is just half of an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. So 2 cards out of that. And I'm using my ergonomic bone folders to get those nice and scored. And then we'll attach down, well, I guess we're going to wait. We'll do a sentiment on the inside. So I'm just going to do Happy Holidays on the inside. So the outside says, may your holidays be filled with peace and joy. And then we just have Happy Holidays on the inside. And I'm going to stamp that or ink that up with our Game Over ink that we used for stenciling on the outside. So very simple. Do that on both of those. Then we can close these up and tack down our panel to our base using some more of that Crafty Gluefriend. Do it for both of them. And you know me, you know I can't really just stop there. You could, this looks great, and it'd be a fairly easy mailer, but I have to add a little bling to it. So we have our golden glass, and I've put that into my little tidy tray. I'm going to pick a few of those out with my pickup stick and then tack that down with our Crafty Gluefriend, and we'll do that for both of them. So once those are done, that's going to finish off our cards for today. I love how simple these were. I love how you could easily just create a lot of these if you needed to. Just makes my heart happy to look at these. I hope you liked them. If you did, please hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, big thank you for all the love and support that you guys give. It really does help me to keep producing videos. And I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.